Hello, hello. As you may have noticed, there is a poll. Do we want to do the OG Gabriel Knight or the remake? Both are pretty good. I don't really have a preference. Yeah, I should preface that the OG has Tim Curry and Mark Hamill and probably more people I don't remember. Alright. As long as you guys aren't those people that are like, ew, old stuff. Like, people who can't watch old movies. Ew, black and white. Even though it's like, what, Citizen Kane or something. Except I actually haven't even seen Citizen Kane. Yep, I said it. Fight me. Alright. I think the easiest way to stream this game will be to show my display. Oh my god, look how awesome my desktop is. Don't you black screen me, bitch. Alright. Get this show on the road. We're gonna do the intro. Kane, you've already seen most of this recently, but you're just gonna get over it. Also, if the game music's too loud, tough fucking shit. God, you guys are all so demanding. Hey, hold on. How do I turn off this them hair panel thing? Manage poll, end poll. Yeah, did you end it? Could not end poll. Oh no! Ah! Alright. Day one. I'm not gonna quote what this is. I think... So the premise of this is the main character is writing a book based on murders that are happening around the city, and I think these are excerpts of his book. But anywho, I'll fill more in later.
Mm-hmm. I bet. Just a minute. It lives, I see. Do you want to speak with Lolita? I'm sorry, but Gabriel is allowed. Oh, I mean, he's out. Yeah, if he ever comes back, I'll tell him. You know, you could do better. I know I don't know you, but you could do better. Sure. Bye-bye. Good morning. The phone's been ringing off the hook all morning. Let me know when you want your messages.
Yeah.
Gee, you're lively. Did you have another nightmare last night?
Sort of.
Mm-hmm. I told you it's that voodoo book you're researching. That stuff can seriously screw up your karma.
I'm sure that's it. Maybe I should write a horror novel on passive resistance instead.
So don't sleep. It's your body. Anyway, your handheld tape recorder came today.
Really? Great.
I can't wait to see what human rights you violate with this one.
I can't wait to violate them. For example, if you would just let me...
And I located some local voodoo references for you. Dixieland Drugstore and the Historical Museum of Voodoo. Both are right here in French Quarter.
How would I ever...
Oh, his
manage
accent
without
is
you?
fucking
You?
atrocious, and I love
Give me
it.
a break. The devil himself couldn't change you.
Well, if the devil had great legs, perhaps. Like yours.
And a riveting personality, I'm sure. Well, if you need any more research done, just ask. It's not as though we're swamped with customers.
Times Picayune, dated June 18, 1993. The
90s
front
pog.
page has an article about the voodoo murders. The article says that the victims are
No,
all
we got a little bit before
identified
Mark Hamill
as
shows up.
members of the underworld. The general public of New Orleans is in
But
no
if you could sound like a
danger.
woman like that, I'd
Police
be pretty
claim
impressed.
The so-called voodoo trappings found at the crime scenes are fake, a scare tactic, and that the murders are not associated with any genuine practitioners. Gabriel also...
Alright, we don't care about that. Alright. You gotta grab some needful
Mind
shit.
if I borrow the magnifying glass?
No, Sherlock. Just bring it back when we get the next estate shipment.
No problem.
So for the uninitiated, this is a point-and-click adventure game, aka I'm gonna be clicking on shit.
I'm gonna take the tweezers for a bit.
Good. You're beginning to look a little scruffy.
Just trying to make you feel at home. I'll take this hair gel. You never know when you'll need a touch-up. I might need a flashlight. Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you have messages for me?
Dana called, and Susie left a message about a lawsuit.
Awesome.
Okie dokie. There's more when you want 'em.
Do you have more messages for me?
Your grandmother called.
I keep meaning to get over there. What did she say? Did she sound good?
She sounded great, and we had a nice little chat about you.
Grace.
Don't worry. I didn't go into detail about your cardinal sins. Not that anything about you could surprise her. She adores you anyway.
She's my girl.
But she said to remind you to stop by and go through your father's things.
Okay.
Mouths are amazing, okay?
Do you have more messages for me?
Here's a strange one. You got a call from someone named Wolfgang Ritter? He said he was calling from Germany. He told me it was urgent, maybe you should give him a call.
Call Germany. Like hell. If it's really important, he'll call back.
Well, fine. Let's just hope he's not with the German lottery for pitiful American authors.
Do you have more messages for me?
Your friend Detective Mosley called. Talkative, isn't he?
Especially with you. What do you want?
He left an interesting message. He told me to tell you that his mother's maiden name is Humphrey. Oh, that's Humphrey.
Fascinating.
And that he left some photos for you at the station, at the front desk.
It's about time.
Gabriel, those photos wouldn't have anything to do with the voodoo murders, would they?
Now, why would you say something like that?
Because I know you. You're getting privileged information, aren't you? Did you tell him you'd put him in your new voodoo book?
A writer has certain obligation to his readers, you know.
Gabriel, you know you'll never put him in your book. Your main character is a female orthodontist. You're gonna be reincarnated as a pit bull if you keep screwing with your karma.
As long as it's a male pit bull with a really big...
That's enough. Thanks. Anyway, that's all the messages. Thank God.
Alright. Get out of
See
here.
you later.
Have fun.
Go get those pictures. Motorcycle poggers.
Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's out at a crime scene. Sorry.
Where is the crime scene? Is it related to the voodoo murders?
Crime scene information is police confidential. We don't need any more looky-loos than are probably already there.
Come on, you can tell me what the crime scene is.
Look, I know the paper's got everybody stirred up about these killings, but that don't make it public information. Back off.
So this is a new voodoo murder then?
Hey, I didn't say that. You'll read all about it in the papers tomorrow, I'm sure.
I was supposed to pick up some photos from Detective Mosley at the front desk.
Is that right? And who are you?
My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Yeah, I got something for you, all right. Soon as you're done talking, I'll give it to you. Here's that envelope for you, Gabriel Knight.
Thanks.
Gabriel opens the manila envelope and finds 2 photographs. One of the photos from
Ew.
Moses
Murder.
is an official voodoo murders crime scene shot. A graphic close-up of a victim.
Looks like he's missing a heart. And for whatever reason, Mosley put a picture of
The
himself.
photograph of Mosley was apparently taken upon his graduation from the police academy. He had hair then.
Alright. Let's go find out where that crime scene is. So I'm gonna save us the time. We gotta distract this cop so we can get on his radio. And to do that, we have to do one of the most jankiest puzzles in video game history. Hi, Mime. Follow me.
Hey, cut that out.
Don't wanna.
I told you to stop that.
Don't wanna.
All right, mister. You want some of this?
Alright.
Gabriel picks up the headset and listens.
Ambulance 911, have you located the crime scene? They've radioed for you 3 times.
Damn! Did you say it was north of the Lake Retreat Country Club?
South, Lakeside Drive north of Piedmont Pier, south of the country club.
Man, I don't know if it's the clouds out here today or what. Good thing this guy's already dead.
Everyone's having trouble. Must have been hallucinogens in the coffee this morning.
It's just so misty out here or something. Hey, I see a squad car. Got it, Molly.
Thank God. Have a good one, 911.
Interesting.
Stupid mime. Hey, you! Get away from that bike.
Sorry.
My bad. A smile. Alright. Crime scene.
The crime scene team is still at the site. Gabriel parks a bit out of the way and walks over to avoid adding to the general confusion.
Hey, mostly.
Huh? Knight, you wiener. I told you not to call me that.
Here's
Feeling
Mark
jumpy?
Hamill.
Who, me? Don't be stupid. How'd you find me?
Oh, I was just driving by.
Mm-hmm. Well, for the book. But don't tell anyone I let you see this, huh? It's another one. As you can see, same M.O. and no frickin' clues. We're still waiting on an ID for the body.
That's disgusting. Isn't this a rather, public area for this kind of thing?
Yeah, they're frickin' ghosts, these guys. Lakeshore Drive isn't exactly the 10 expressway, but it is open to the public. No reports and nothing. Now, who the hell is that?
Uh-oh. Sparks are flying.
Good day, Miss Getty.
What's going on, officer?
Detective Mosley, ma'am. We've got a little problem here, but nothing for you to be concerned about, Miss Getty.
I see. Thank you, detective. And good day, gentlemen.
Whoa, I'm in love.
Forget it. That's Malia Getty. She's about as far out of your reach as the moon. Probably on her way to meet some guy with a yacht right now.
Near here?
The lake's a popular place for country clubs.
If she's out here a lot, maybe she saw something or heard something.
Man, nobody ever sees or hears nothing. I told you. Besides, you just don't go around bothering people like her.
Challenge accepted.
We've about wrapped it up, sir. It's another clean sweep.
Yeah, let's get the meat wagon moving then.
Do you want to leave an officer here, sir?
Nah, just leave the tape up for a few days.
Yes, sir. If you'll excuse us, sir, we'll take him away.
Stick around and take notes for the book if you want. Watch out for the muck in the water moccasins, though. I'll be back at the station. Stop by if you want to go over the case some more.
Thanks.
All right. We're gonna need to come back here, but we need to go somewhere else first. We need to go visit Grandma. As boring as that sounds.
Gabriel, I'm so glad you stopped by.
Sorry it's been a while, Grandma.
Not at all. Give us a kiss. Now come and sit down. Tell me how you're doing.
How you been, Gran?
Just fine, dear. I'm sorry I bothered you at work, but I was hoping you'd get a chance to go through your father's things in the attic.
Don't be silly. You can call me anytime. Can we talk, Gran?
Of course, my boy. How can I help?
Tell me about our family.
Who would you like to hear about? Your granddad, your father, or your mother?
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad immigrated to America when he was 21. He worked his way through school, met and married me, and we had your father, Philip.
And, yeah, so we're gonna learn about his family a little bit. I mean, the surname of this game is Sins of Fathers, so, this is going to end up being important.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Your granddad supported me and your father with bookkeeping. I'll tell you what, though, he hated every minute of it. Didn't really like bookkeeping one bit. Maybe that was why he had the worst luck with jobs. The nights he'd come home afraid to tell me he'd lost another. And I would tell him. It didn't matter to me. But he felt ashamed, Gabriel.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Harrison was only 36 when he died.
Oof.
Your father was 8 years old at the time. Your granddad was hit by a streetcar in the business district. Took me nearly a year to believe he was really gone.
I'm sorry, Gran.
I know you are, dear.
Tell me something about Granddad.
Did you know that your granddad was a poet? He was! He wrote the most beautiful poetry for me when we were courting. I always thought he should have done something with that gift. But he was such a practical man. Didn't believe in chasing after dreams.
Tell me something about
I don't know what else to tell you, dear.
Tell me about my father.
Your father was my only child. How we adored him. Philip suffered from terrible nightmares, just like your granddad did. They were 2 peas in a pod.
Well, guess what my guy's going through? Nightmares.
Tell me about my father.
When Philip met your mother, it was love at first sight. They were married 2 weeks later. Never looked at a girl seriously until then, and he looked at plenty. You have your father's way with women, Gabriel, and your granddad's.
Tell me about...
I wanted to just lay down and die when he and your mother were killed in that car crash when you were only 8. It was the thought of taking care of you that kept me going, Gabriel. The police say your father swerved off the road after being frightened by something. Perhaps a deer in the road or a wild cat.
Tell me about...
Your granddad wanted Philip to have a normal life. He was obsessed by that thought. He pushed Philip to go to law school. But Philip was driven to art. He painted almost in a daze. He would get so inside himself when he worked.
I don't know how you could push an 8-year-old into being a lawyer that early. But, you know.
Tell me about my mother.
Your mother was Margaret Templeton when your father met her. She came from a very wealthy Creole family in New Orleans. She was beautiful and reckless.
Fuck you, Kane.
Madly in love with your father, of course.
Because that's exactly what's happening.
I think she liked defying her family. Since you're so interested in family history these days, why don't you go by St. Louis Cemetery No. 1 and visit the family tomb? It would be a sweet gesture.
Maybe I will. Tell me about...
Your mother's family refused to give her money after the marriage. All she had left was a modest trust fund from her great-aunt, who happened to like Philip. The remainder of your mother's trust fund became yours when she died. That's what you used to open your bookshop.
Tell me...
The Templetons are all gone now. Every last one of them. They never wanted anything to do with us, of course. What a waste.
True.
I don't...
Alright, let's go upstairs.
I'm going to go up to the attic, Gran.
Be careful of the dust.
I think I'd take Daddy's sketchbook with me.
Let's open it.
Images haunt the pages of Philip Knight's sketchbook, the way they must have haunted his mind. The images touch a deep chord in Gabriel. So familiar are they that he finds it hard to believe they aren't from his own subconscious.
And let's fuck with this clock. Oh shit, I moved it.
Gabriel doesn't want to take...
I don't want him to take the clock either. Alright. Let's wind this to that.
Granddaddy, you old fox.
So a note in a picture.
The old photographs show Gabriel's grandfather with 2 other men that Gabriel has not identified.
And a big old fucking castle behind him.
The letter is written in German, but Gabriel determines what he can about it. It was sent from a place called Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. The letter is addressed to mein Sohn Heinz and signed Wilhelm Ritter. One of the reoccurring words strewn throughout the letter is the word Schattenjäger. The only thing that Gabriel can decipher about the letter is a sense of urgency in the handwriting and in the heavy use of quill-tipped bold strokes and underlining.
That's it. Take a load off, hon.
Does this mean anything to you, Gran?
That one in the middle is your grandfather. Those other two I don't know.
Can we... Have you ever heard of a Schattenjäger?
Schattenjäger? Schattenjäger. How odd, Gabriel. I haven't heard that word in years. My goodness, you've given me a chill. Your granddad used to say that sometimes in his sleep.
Really? Do you know what it means?
No, I'm afraid not. I asked him about it once. I don't think he answered me. Odd.
Thanks, Gran. Do you know anyone named Heinz Ritter?
Heinz Ritter? Oh, Gabriel, where did you hear that name?
I found a letter in Granddaddy's clock.
I promised I'd never tell you or your father. But I suppose it doesn't matter now.
Tell me, Gran.
Your granddad's name was Heinz Ritter before he came to America. He changed it to Harrison Knight legally when he arrived.
Why did Granddad change his name?
I don't know. I tried to ask him about his family, his life before America, but he didn't want to talk about it. He never even told me about his name change. I found out one day when I saw his passport in a drawer. Since he obviously found it painful, I never questioned him about it. But I'm sure it wasn't trouble with the law. Your granddad was the best man I ever knew.
All right.
Well, Gran, I better get going.
All right, dear.
Now that I have a sketchbook, let's write this down.
Let me try to get this down.
And then look at this.
There are marks in the grass, as though some heavy wire object had been set there. Gabriel carefully uses the tweezers to take the small iridescent scale.
I think it's a snake scale, but it beats the hell out of me. What kind?
A not good one.
Is that clay? Yuck.
All right, let's go harass Mark Hamill.
Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
He's in his office. Go on back.
Detective Mosley. Hard at work, I see.
Knight, come on in.
So, how's it hanging, bud?
Lousy. I hate crime scenes. People are sick fucks. You know that, Knight?
I'm starting to get that impression. Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Have you ever called the hair club for men?
I'd rather have no hair than your hair, Knight.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
There's voodoo that goes on in this city, sure. I looked into it a bit at the beginning of this case. But the voodoo stuff found at the crime scenes is all faked. It doesn't have anything to do with the real stuff. I know. I asked some experts. It's intimidation tactics, that's all.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Lots. Can you be more specific?
Do you know anything about the killers?
At least 20 people attend the killings. We know this from the variety of footprints found at the scenes.
Footprints? Aren't those as good as fingerprints?
Can be. But we'd have to have a suspect in custody first, and the suspect would have to match one of the few distinct prints we have. Most of the footprints are smudged, trodden over, unreadable. These guys are so casual in their expertise, it's maddening. Like they know we'll never find them.
How many murders have there been so far?
7 murders have so far been linked to the voodoo murders case.
Oh,
Now, the
hell
first
yeah.
murder occurred about 8 weeks ago. The MO was the same in each murder. Lake Pontchartrain was the 7th.
What kind of evidence have you found?
No fingerprints, a few bare footprints. Found a few fibers, but not many. The weirdest one was leopard fur.
Leopard fur?
I'll just kind of skip through this. Basically, they don't have shit. No witnesses, no nothing.
Oh, sure. Do you know anything about the patterns around the bodies?
Yeah, weird, huh? All 7 victims had those little marks around them. We got all the marks on file, but we haven't figured out what, if anything, they mean.
Can I see the other 6 patterns?
Sure. People like that kind of stuff, don't they? Might make the book seem more mysterious. Go talk to Officer Franks. Tell her I said you could see the file.
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
Can you get a file for me?
What file would that be?
The voodoo murders file? Detective Mosley said I could see it.
Really? Well, if he said so. There it is. You can look at it all you want, but don't leave this area with it, okay? And no photocopies either, I'm afraid.
Of course. I understand completely.
No photocopies, huh? Well, we're not gonna look at it.
I'm done.
Yeah, thanks.
Time for some trickery.
Can I ask you about you? I got those photographs you left for me.
Really? Great. What'd you think?
Astonishingly lifelike.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Got any more ideas for photos for the book?
A cop author photo might be nice.
You and me? Together?
Why not? Of course, you'll have to try to tone down your masculinity.
Well, okay. Now I'll call the police photographer.
Tim Curry probably had as much fun as saying, what can you tell him about voodoo, as Harry did in Silent Hill 1 of, have you seen my daughter?
Come here a minute, would you? Bring your camera.
Have you seen my daughter? Her name's Cheryl.
What did you need, Detective Mosley?
We need a picture, please. And make it a good one, huh, sweetheart?
Sure, sweetheart.
I smell some friction.
Chintzy.
Was there anything else, Knight?
Hold on a sec while I go check my hair.
Good God, Knight, make it fast.
Just need to check my hair, smile. Hair being this
Let
file.
me see that file.
Checking my hair with this file and this photocopy.
Just want to check this machine here.
Whoopsies.
Would you just get in here? Hurry up, would you?
Okay, ready.
Thanks, hon. Let me know when you got it developed. The photos, that is.
Yeah, sure.
Goodbye.
Well, I'll be seeing you.
Ciao.
Dude, I wish I could do this old pixel art. I'd make games looking like this. Alas.
I knew you'd miss me, so I came back.
Oh, joy.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Could you do some research for me?
Sure, what?
Could you see what you can find out about a woman named Malia Getty?
The name Getty sounds familiar. What's your interest in her?
Oh, just, stuff about the voodoo murders. If you could get an address...
They're murders. Right. I'll see what I can find out. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. Well... it's about closing time.
Hell yeah.
So it is. Good night, Gracie.
Day 1 complete.
Good night, Gabriel. And try not to dream, okay?
Any bets on if he's gonna dream again? Come on, Kane. Do it all. Do it. You won't. Do it. Day 2.
Good morning. Don't you look swell today? Actually, swollen.
Oh.
So have some. There's a fresh pot on the table. Seriously, you look like hell. Your hair is sticking straight up like a... Oh, it always does that. Never mind.
Ha ha.
Did you dream about the fire and the hang guy and that lion thing last night?
Leopard, not lion. Did you get anything on Malia Getty?
Well, I did get her address, but you're a little out of your league here, big fella. The Gettys own 3 local hospitals, just to name a few of their assets. They run in very high circles.
Did you get an address?
I got the address. I suppose this has nothing to do with the fact that Malia Getty is incredibly gorgeous. I should have known you wouldn't go for a rich, ugly socialite.
And that address is?
Hey, far be it from me to postpone your total humiliation. It's 557 West Ingram. That's a garden district, a state city.
That's all I wanted to know. And yes, my dear, Malia-Getty is the most dangerous-looking diversion I've ever seen. Ouch!
Oy, men.
Gotta check that newspaper.
Times-Picayune, dated June 19, 1993. A front-page article describes the most recent of the voodoo
The murder that we already know about.
The article reiterates that elsewhere there's an article about the history of Jackson Square, called La Plaza d'Armas. Under French rule, it was used for executions, firing squads, hanging, even impalement and breaking on the wheel. Yikes! Of course, these days it's mostly a hangout for tourists, street musicians and local artists. Gabriel
and voodoo cartels. I mean, what? Did I say that out loud?
Gabriel leafs through a German-English dictionary.
Let's see, Mittag means midday, noon.
Alright, that's not the book I want.
Gabriel selects a volume of German poetry that he always found strangely compelling.
Drei Drachen kriechen in meinen Schlaf. Die Ziele wollen sie lebendig zum Fraß. Feurigen Atems, gespaltener Zunge, genießen sie jedes Mal.
That's nice. Kinda creepy, though. Who's the author?
Let's see. Heinz Ritter. Heinz Ritter. No wonder it gives me chills.
So we learned Heinz Ritter is actually his granddad's name. So I don't know if he caught that, but we, the astute-minded people, know that the grandma revealed that he was a poet. Well, obviously he was a poet in Germany as well, and actually had shit published. And that was one of them.
I'll be back later.
Good luck.
Alright, let's go harass voodoo places.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Bonjour, Monsieur Walker.
Oh, bienvenue, Madame Casino. Comment ça va? How you be feeling today?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Walker, I'm certain someone's buried a slip-knot bag somewhere near my steps. I haven't slept a wink in weeks.
Oh, don't that beat all? Well, you're gonna need some easy night candles then.
By the way, if any one of us becomes this lady when we're older,
you're right. I said 3 rosaries
we need to make a vow that everyone else is going to put this person out of their misery.
Good, sure enough. But you burn those candles too, and you're gonna whip any old no-sleep gree-gree, I tell you for sure.
Very well, Mr. Walker. Put them on my account and send them round to my house.
I think someone put a voodoo spell on me.
I didn't catch her at it, but I know Mrs. Lefebvre put stomachache powder in my tea at the last meeting of the Creole Grand Dames. Oh, I've been in misery.
You put 9 pinheads up in a little box, add a pinch of graveyard dust, and put it under her front porch step. That'll turn the trick back on Mrs. Lefebvre, and she'll be the one with the bellyache. I have the pins and the dust right here if you want them.
If the Blessed Virgin will grant me her protection, I'll be safe from these practitioners of evil.
Oui, madame. Though it don't hurt to be proactive none either, now does it?
Naturellement, monsieur. Merci beaucoup.
Mais non, madame. It is nothing. Au revoir.
Au revoir, Monsieur Walker.
Mind if I ask you a few questions?
Ask what you want. I'll answer what I want.
Can you tell me what you know about voodoo?
This is a novelty shop, monsieur.
Do you think I'm stupid? This is a voodoo shop. Look at all this stuff.
These are novelties, curiosities. If people want to think they're magic, it's not my concern, you know.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Cabriz Sancour.
What did you say?
Nothing. Those killings have nothing to do with my shop, monsieur.
I'm in danger!
What did you mean when you said Cabriz Sancour?
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard you say it.
You heard wrong, monsieur. I said no such thing.
That customer of yours, the little old lady?
Customer?
The woman I saw in here. Madame Cazonou, you called her.
I don't talk about my customers to men who come in off the street.
The sign said, Special Saint Jean Eve, Lagnappe, free bottle of lover come back to me oil, or master gambling oil, with every purchase over $50.
Lagnappe. My French is lousy, but everyone in New Orleans knows.
Yeah, so that'll be important later. We want one of those oils, but we gotta buy something. But we don't know what to buy. So, another time. Let's go to the Voodoo Museum.
Welcome, my friend.
Hello.
I like this voice actor.
The proprietor, Dr. John. If you have any questions, I will be happy to assist.
I actually like this
Great.
character, period.
My name's
But, you know.
Knight, and I'll probably take you up on that.
I'm sure he's a friendly person and, you know. Oh my god, walk slower.
This is quite a place you have here.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I have dedicated myself to the preservation of this unique culture. It is gratifying to see others reap the fruits I have sown.
So one thing about this game, the designer is an author as well, and she did her research.
Could I ask you some
questions?
That is why I
Pretty
am
much
here.
all this voodoo stuff is accurate.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical voodoo? Or the voodoo currently practiced in the city?
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The killings in the newspaper? I know that they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It is one of the important ceremonial nights in voodoo.
Tell me about historical voodoo.
Very well. I will start at the beginning, Mr. Knight, and will go on from there at your prompting.
Sounds good.
As you may know, voodoo is a grassroots religion formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism. In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade. But African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, where the French and Spanish ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, the New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for voodoo to breed here natively. The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importing of slaves from that region.
That almost sounded like a different voice actor. They might have had to add that later.
So, how did voodoo come to New Orleans?
After the Louisiana Purchase, American legislators relaxed regulations. Slaves were permitted to gather. The Americans also removed the ban on West Indies slaves. Around the same time, a slave revolt occurred in Santo Domingo, what is now Haiti. Between the lifting of the ban and the Haitian revolt, West Indies slaves began pouring into New Orleans. Some of them were free people of color, freed or escaped slaves. Some came with their white owners who were fleeing from the revolt.
What happened when the West Indies slaves got here?
They brought voodoo with them. The native slaves were more than enthusiastic about embracing it. It gave them power, Mr. Knight, if only in the form of a communal bond. Among the first meeting places were the Bayou Saint John and the shore of Lake Pontchartrain. The early voodoos were heavy snake worshippers, worshipping the one they called the Great Zombie.
Tell me more.
By 1817, the voodoo activities were beginning to cause fear among the white slave owners. An ordinance was passed to forbid slave gatherings except in designated public areas.
I'm in danger!
The time was Sunday afternoons and the place, Congo Square. The slaves and free people of color gathered to dance simulations of their voodoo dances right in sight of Creole society. Of course, they also continued to meet in private for the real thing.
Tell me more.
There were a variety of kings and queens at first, voodoo priests and priestesses. But from about 1830, a single power emerged. This was a voodoo queen named Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau ruled voodoo in New Orleans for many years.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
There were actually two Marie Laveaus, mother and daughter. Most people thought they were the same woman. Her continued youth added to the mystique. The original, the mother, was also known as Widow Paris. It was she that began the empire. When the Widow Paris began to practice, there were many voodooans in the city. By 1830, she was voodoo queen of all New Orleans. The Widow Paris was a hairdresser for rich Creole ladies. She also paid household servants to spy for her. Between the two, she knew everything about everyone who mattered in New Orleans. She was not above using her information to appear psychic, to intimidate, or even to blackmail.
You sound as though you admire her.
For a black woman in the mid-1800s to gain power is an incredible thing, Mr. Knight. However, she achieved it.
I mean, not wrong.
Tell me.
She kept a pet snake, danced with it too. She held traditional voodoo ceremonies out by the lake. She took herself seriously, very seriously. But she was not above selling tickets for her events to curiosity seekers. She was not above using voodoo any way she could to make money. That is for certain. But if she had been in another line of work, in another age, that would have been interpreted as entrepreneurial genius rather than a sign of fraudulence.
Hey, you don't need to convince me. I admire anyone that can actually make a living. Tell me.
It was Marie Laveau who defined the voodoo that is truly and uniquely the voodoo of New Orleans. She invented hundreds, if not thousands of spells, potions, charms, and incantations. These form the basis of the modern practice, not to mention the folk tradition of hoodoo.
Eventually he's supposed to give me an address to a place.
Tell me.
Her daughter, Marie Glapion, took over when the Widow Paris got old. Most people thought it was the same Marie Laveau. Both Maries encouraged that point of view. The Widow Paris died in 1881. Marie Glapion had been reigning a long time by then. After the death of the Widow Paris, other voodoo queens surfaced, and by 1890, the cult was fragmented again. Marie Glapion just sort of faded away.
Tell me...
The Laveau tomb, where one or both of the Maries are believed to be buried, is in St. Louis Cemetery number 1. It is a popular shrine for practitioners and tourists alike. I myself take tours through the cemetery on a regular basis.
Really? Do you have any running this week?
No, but the cemetery is open to the general public as well.
Tell me...
You have heard everything about Marie Laveau.
Alright.
Tell me about current voodoo.
Many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or gree-gree. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo, and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in their religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I, personally, am more interested in the history of voodoo. Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo. But it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
What exactly is hoodoo?
Hoodoo refers to magic folk traditions of the South. Hoodoo is a bastard of voodoo. Many of the gree-gree are similar, but hoodoo does not have the religious aspects of voodoo.
Is there anything else
Not if your interest is primarily in voodoo. Hoodoo is of interest to those who study rural folk traditions, but it will not aid you in understanding true voodoo.
Tell me more about...
There are many voodooians in New Orleans. They often do business selling gree-gree, telling fortunes, providing luck, and occasionally misfortune. Perhaps you would like to meet a voodooian.
Oh, here we go.
We refer those who seek a deeper experience with voodoo to a local practitioner, Magentia Moonbeam.
Sure, I'd love to meet her.
She lives on the corner of Orleans and Dauphine. I will call her and tell her you might stop by.
Great, thanks.
Alright, I think that's all. Sorry, that was kind of long.
Goodbye, Dr. John.
Goodbye, Mr. Knight.
Let's go to Jackson Square. This shit changes daily. Okay. This game seems to forgot that I hit speed. So this guy will be important. I don't know when. Are you now? Oh, get fucked.
Come back here. Hey!
Get fucked.
Oh, unbelievable. Rotten luck.
Alright. Need to go back to the bookstore.
I knew you'd miss me, so I came back.
Oh boy, party time.
Hell yeah. Wait, she's sarcastic.
Gabriel opens the cash register.
I need this.
I trust you can live without this old gift certificate.
Knock yourself out. Good luck.
I have this gift certificate.
I'm busy.
It's good for $20 at St. George's Books, finest bookstore in New Orleans.
Really? I'll have to check it out sometime.
You could take this gift certificate with you, if you'll give me a lucky dog.
A lucky dog for a $20 gift certificate? Well, sure. Here you go.
It sounds like the tap dancing is going way faster than what the kid's doing, but you know, just use your fucking imagination, okay, chat? Fucking do it. Also, I just bought a hot dog for $20, basically.
You wouldn't like a lucky dog by any chance?
Would I?
Would I? Jesus Christ.
Thanks, mister. You got any special requests, let me know.
That's also not the voice of a kid.
You mentioned something about special requests.
Yeah, you got one?
Can you fit through the bars around the statue?
Can I? Just watch me.
Good. There's something in there I can't quite reach. Can you reach that piece of paper?
Sure thing. Here you go. Yep. See ya.
This is...
Here you go.
This belongs to you, doesn't it?
My drawing. How'd you get it?
Oh, it was a bit of a squeeze, but I hate to see you lose your work. I lost my only copy of a manuscript once.
Well, you saved my butt. Let me know if I can ever do the same for you, huh?
Oh, you can.
Say, do you think there's anything you can do with these patterns?
What do you need?
Is there any way you can reconstruct the whole pattern from these partials?
Pattern is probably circular, and there's some repetition in the elements. What is this from, anyway?
You'd never believe me.
Okie dokie. Well, there's... I think there's an area missing. If you could get me any more of these...
I'll see what I can do.
Like... this one?
I have another one of those patterns.
Really? Let's see. Yeah, this is great. I think there's enough overlap now. I'll give it my best shot. I'll show you what I come up with tomorrow.
Great. I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Actually, let's go up this way, because we're gonna need to go into the cathedral tomorrow, probably.
The door isn't going anywhere.
Oh, for fuck's sake, open it up.
I can't resist black. Well, you never know when a priest's collar will come in handy.
Love how I'm just basically robbing a church. Don't mind me. Police station. Hey, hurry up, technician. Get out of there. Hell yeah. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Don't mind me while I mess.
The gauge is...
Crank that shit up. I love how I just harass Mosley.
My man.
Knight, I had a feeling you'd show up.
Oh, same, bro. Same.
Whew. It's hot in here. Dang, the air conditioning must be on the blink.
Yep, that's it, Smile.
Are you hot? Man, I'm hot.
Nah, it's just comfy in here. Alright.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Give me coffee.
How about getting me some coffee?
Coffee? You want coffee?
Should that surprise you?
Nah, you've always been a caffeine addict. It's just that what we got here hardly qualifies.
So, I'm desperate.
It's your stomach. I'll get you some when we're done talking.
That long?
All right, I'll go now. Don't touch anything while I'm gone.
Wouldn't dream of it, besides your badge.
I think I'll just borrow this badge.
Hey, what are you doing with my coat?
Nothing. I thought I saw something crawling on it.
Oh, yeah.
Just drink this.
Thanks. Tons. I mean it.
Oh, look at the time. Gabriel's such a piece of shit. Speaking of piece of shit.
May I help you? I'd like to see Malia Getty, please. I'm sorry, but unless you have an appointment or official business, I cannot announce you.
I like how Tim Curry's talking to Tim Curry.
I do have official business. Really? Please tell me the nature of your business.
So, as you fell asleep last night, Kane, Meg actually hopped in, and she brought up such a good point, because I did this part on the remake. Gabriel Knight is so creepy for this.
My name is Detective Mosley. I'm here on police business. Really?
Basically pretending to be a cop to make her cooperate so he can see her again. It's so true.
Miss Getty, we'll see you right this way.
I was like, yeah, when he put it that way, it is 100% true.
Thank you.
'90s romance, creepy stalking.
What can I do for you, Detective?
This is quite a place.
Thank you. It's been in the family a long time.
A very long time.
Done anything exciting lately?
I'm sorry, but I'm very busy. Can we get to the point?
Mind if I ask you a few questions, Miss Getty?
I assume that's what you're here for, Detective.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? Why would you want to know about that, Detective? It's rather silly, isn't it?
There's nothing silly about the voodoo murders.
But that voodoo is faked. That's what I've read in the papers.
That's what the papers say, all right.
But you're not convinced?
No, frankly, I'm not. The police department isn't known for its imagination.
Oh. Well, I can see that your imagination is considerable.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
The murders? Only what I read in the papers.
And what do you read in the papers?
I'm sure you know much more about it than I, Detective.
Tell me about yourself.
I suppose I don't really have a choice. What do you want to know, Detective?
What kind of things interest you?
I don't have a lot of free time, but I do appreciate
totally
the arts.
normal
Opera,
police
symphony,
questions.
ballet, fine art. If you look around, you'll see that we collect African art, for example.
Yes, it's very beautiful.
It is, Detective. It means a great deal to me.
Do you have a career?
A career? Being the head of the Getty family is a 24-hour-a-day job. We have many holdings and many responsibilities, financial and otherwise. The management of our business affairs and properties leaves me with time for little else.
Poor little rich girl?
Believe it or not, Detective, wealth does have its price.
Tell me about your family.
The Gettys? We're a very private family.
How many people are there in your family?
Well, my mother just passed away.
I am sorry.
So am I. She was a magnificent woman. We were very close. I was an only child.
And your father?
I never knew him.
It's hard to believe that any man would leave a woman like you. Or like your mother must have been.
He did not leave, Detective. but that's really none of your concern.
I'm sorry. Go on.
There are, of course, other Gettys in the city. I have a large, extended family.
I see.
Here's the most important police question he has.
Do you have a husband? A boyfriend?
I'm very independent, Detective. The women in my family have always preferred it that way.
So, you've never been married?
No, and I never will be.
What about children?
Yes, that is likely. Someday.
I wouldn't know where to begin.
As you wish, Detective.
Can you tell me anything about what happened out at the lake?
I wish I could, but I've never seen or heard anything unusual at the lake, and I do spend quite a bit of time out there.
Can you tell me...
I wish I...
Excuse me, but your eyes are really distracting. I don't think I've ever seen a color quite like that. Brown.
Oh, here we go.
It's so deep and rich. Man, if I could bottle that, I'd make a fortune.
Thank you, Detective. That's an interesting observation, though probably not relevant to your case.
A good detective never knows what might be relevant, Miss Getty.
Then you must be truly exceptional at your job. I think this has gone on long enough. You're not really a detective, are you?
Who, me? Well, I am on this case, Miss Getty.
I saw you at the lake yesterday. I thought you must be with the police since you were there, but you don't act like a police officer. Besides, I'm rather certain that the other man said his name was Mosley.
All right, you caught me. I'm not with the police. My name is Gabriel Knight. I'm a writer working with Detective Mosley on a book.
Well, Mr. Knight, now that we've established who you are, perhaps you can tell me the real reason you're here.
Well, I am researching the book, and I thought you might have seen or heard something at the lake.
I don't like liars, Mr. Knight.
Okay, you're right. I really just wanted to see you again. You can be mad at me if you want, but I swear I've never done anything like this before.
Mr. Knight, you've lied about your identity and wasted my time with meaningless questions. If it weren't vaguely flattering, I'd really be angry. You're lucky I don't call the real police. I think you should go, Mr. Knight.
Malia, wait. If you just give me a chance.
I've wasted enough time. I'll have Robert show you out. Robert? Show Mr. Knight out, please.
I most certainly will. Thank you very much. I had a lovely time.
Ah, shit.
Oh, Gabriel, yeah, fuck up.
I knew you'd miss me, so I came back.
You said that last time.
I wish you wouldn't wear that coat outside in June. I could smell you from here.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I need to find more sounds, but yeah, that one was a good one. Alright.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Could you do some research? I need you to look up a Madame Cazeneuve.
Madame Cazeneuve? Is she related to the murders the same way your friend, Malia Getty, was?
Grace, yeah. Cazeneuve's at least 70.
As if that makes a difference to you. Okay, I'll see what I can find. Anything else?
No!
It's time to close shop.
So it is. Have a nice night.
You too. See you tomorrow.
I'm gonna rise my desk. Nothing fell apart. That's good. Any bets on him dreaming again? Yeah, as each night progresses, his dream more gets revealed. Whoa, weird. Did I just lose connection? My Streamlabs, like, did something weird. It, like, refreshed. So I don't know if that means it, like... What happened? I don't know. Streamlabs literally refreshed itself. What did it sound like? Weird. I have no idea why. I unplugged my phone from my charger.
I'm so glad you could join us today.
That's the only thing I could think of.
I've got messages when you want them.
And my soundboard's hooked up to it, but I don't know why that would do anything.
I also checked out Kazanu. There are multiple listings in the white pages. I got the page, but you'll have to figure out the right one.
Great, thanks.
Now, are you gonna tell me what happened yesterday with Malia Getty, or is it just too embarrassing? Don't tell me you actually got to see her.
Are the stars out tonight?
Gabriel, you don't seriously think she's interested? She can have any man in the city. You know, men with bank accounts.
You underestimate the Knight family's tragic poet samurai appeal. When Daddy married Mom, she was the hottest catch in town.
I always suspected there was something fishy in your family tree. But seriously, I think you should be careful.
Grace.
I'm serious. I don't know why, but I have a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach about this.
It's called jealousy, my dear. And you're right. You should be jealous of Malia Getty, as should every woman on this planet.
Oh, never mind. I'll just fix these books. Your life is in your own slippery little hands.
The point is to get it into somebody else's hands. And soon.
Times Picayune. Under the cultural events section, there's a notice about a lecture on African religions. The lecture is at Tulane University.
Tulane University, poggers.
Horoscope for the day. An evil eye is upon you. Change course before it's too late.
Lighten up.
Even my horoscope is like, no! Stop it! Stop doing what you're doing! I'm like, nope.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Do you have messages for me?
Your pal Mosley called. He left a message that they're interrogating a suspect this morning, and you might want to be there.
Oh,
Sounds
hell yeah.
Fun.
I bet.
Do you have more messages for me?
That man from Germany called again, Wolfgang Ritter. Now he's claiming to be a relative of yours. I took down his number. If you change your mind and want to give him a call back, just ask me for it.
You know, I think I will.
Do you have more messages for me?
I've given everything.
Can I get that phone number for Wolfgang Ritter?
Sure, I'll give it to you when we're done talking. Here's that phone number.
Thanks.
Alright, first things first, we need to figure out Madame Kazanu's address. We got multiple numbers. Gotta find out which one. 555-1280. Let's try that one. Whoops.
Hello?
Oh, found it.
Hello? I'm calling from the Dixieland drugstore. We have an order for you.
What fucking accent is that?
Castro, be quiet. Who is this?
I'm a friend of the owner.
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about.
And I was telling Meg, you know, technically this is another fucking creepy thing. Oh, I find this address. Alright. 6170.
Cajun Critters Animal Clinic. This is Melissa.
Do you have a Madame Kazanu as a client?
Madame Casino? Sure, I know her. She's not here right now, though.
Really? She told me she'd be there. Would you happen to have her address by any chance?
Yes, but I'm not sure I should give it out. Who are you again?
I'm worried about Castro. He's missed 3 dance lessons.
Castro? Her little doggy? Oh, he's so sweet. Well, I guess if you know Castro, it's okay. Her address is 345 Dauphine.
Thanks.
And she ended up giving the number to a serial killer. Alright, I need to... I was afraid that was gonna happen. Hold on. Kane, I don't know if you can see it. I'll just get into my chat so I can type it, because I'm not gonna remember this fucking number. 490 9324. Wait a minute. 9324 and then 4 3s. Ow! All right.
Guten Tag, Sie haben Schloss Ritter erreicht?
I'm looking for Wolfgang Ritter.
Ja, einen Moment.
Yeah, is this Gabriel on the phone?
This is Gabriel Knight. Why are you calling me, Mr. Ritter?
I have been having premonitions of great danger for you, Gabriel. You must leave New Orleans this very day.
What the hell are you talking about?
It is hard to explain on the phone. I have had senses, feelings about you. It took me a long time to have you tracked down. I had a sense that Heinz had a grandson, but until these dreams started, I did not know if I should contact you.
You say you're related to my grandfather?
Yes, Heinz was my brother. There is much about the family that you should know, Gabriel. Come to Schloss Ritter in Rittersberg, West Germany. It is our family home. I will tell you everything when you come. You must come immediately. You are in great danger there.
Look, I appreciate the family spirit and all, but frankly I don't know you from Adam, and I'm not going to fly off to Germany even if I could afford it.
Gabriel, please. If you won't listen, at least let me send you something. It is a journal from one of your ancestors. Promise me you will read it.
Well, I'm pretty busy.
Please, Gabriel, you are the last of our line. I am too old to carry on. You are our last hope. Please, for your family, read the journal.
All right, I'll look at it.
Good. Now be careful and come to me as soon as you can. Goodbye.
Oh, if only Gabriel would have heeded that warning better. If only.
I've got some things I need to do.
Have fun.
Well, let's go to that police interrogation.
You son of... Give me back my badge. Now, Knight!
Oops.
Sure. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
Yeah? Well, you borrowed again in your history.
I'm in danger!
About today. Glad you made it. It'll give you a feel for how I am in action. You know, handling suspects, that sort of thing.
I'm sure it'll be invigorating. Who is this guy anyway?
Calls himself Crash. He's been an informant for us before, mostly helping us bust small-time pimps and dealers trying to break into the territory. Well, he's been staying invisible during these murders, but we picked him up this morning at Jackson Square. Pushing coke. He knows something. Call it detective's instinct.
Detective's instinct. Got it.
All right, Crash. I want to hear about these murders. Have you been present at the so-called voodoo ritual?
I don't know nothing. I told you.
Come on now, you can tell me. Do you know anyone who's been to these rituals?
Look, I can't say nothing. You gotta let me go, man.
Now, you relax. No one knows you're here. The men who picked you up were plainclothesmen.
Plain clothes, like you could fool them. They know I'm here. They've got ears all over the city. They know everything.
Now, who are they, Crash? Are they the ones doing the murders?
Let me go.
If you're so worried about being detained, start talking. Now, you tell me what I want to hear, and maybe I can get you in the witness protection program. But you have to earn it.
Witness protection? Are you crazy? Don't make me laugh. Jesus, just let me out of here.
Now, come on. Who's behind these murders, Crash? Why are the victims all members of the underworld?
By now they know I'm here. I mean, it's different when I'm supposed to come here. Well, if I can send a message. Tell him I didn't say nothing.
Christ, he's freaking useless. Take him back to detain him, would you, Tony? I tell you, times like this, I'd kill for truth serum and damn the civil rights.
Can I quote you on that?
Huh? Hell no. Damn! We only keep him for 24 hours. Tomorrow morning, I might have to let him go. Sorry it wasn't more exciting. For the book I made. Maybe you can punch it up some. You know, what do they call that? Fiction. That's it.
It certainly is. I'll see what I can do. What's the status on the voodoo murders case?
It sure as hell ain't going well. There's a lot of brakes being applied in different areas of the investigation. We're getting some real info on the victims now, and they're not exactly upstanding citizens. And I was hoping to get more out of Crash, but he's scared shitless. We'll have to let him go tomorrow morning.
Correct.
Have you ever called the hair club for men?
You already used that insult. Come on!
I'll let you get back to it.
Ciao, baby.
Oh yeah, we have a drawing that we should be getting.
How's it going today?
What? Oh, it's only you. Man, I have been jumpy all day. That pattern of yours really freaked me out for some reason. There's just something creepy.
You finished it?
Yeah, and you're welcome to it. Here.
Wow, this is great.
Uh-huh. Just don't, like, blow up the planet with it or something, okay?
I didn't mean to upset you.
Ah, forget it. I'm probably just being stupid. Do your thing with it, and good luck.
How's business?
How's business? I have no time for such dull conversation, darling.
Oh yeah? You're just kind of sitting here.
That's a nice snake you have there.
I could say the same of you.
Well, I know where I got mine. Where'd you get yours?
That's personal.
How about a reading?
The prices are listed on the sign.
They seem a little steep.
Well, I sometimes do my intimate friends for nothing. But I am a businesswoman.
I'm sure you are. Oh.
Then move aside, sweetie. But stay where I can look at you, okay?
Oh boy.
Could I ask you a few questions, Madame Lorelei?
The only answers I give are given in my reading. I'm sure your palm will... Come on, boys. Hoopla!
Oh, here we go. This is what I was waiting for. How dare you diss this band, Kane? How dare you?
Not a bad idea. Ooh, baby, I love the way you move.
Oh boy!
Madame Lorelei winks knowingly at Gabriel and twitches her hip.
Yep, she wants me.
Thanks, boys.
You forgot something.
This.
I think this veil belongs to you.
Huh, my veil. I'm always losing those things. You have no idea. Well, darling, you're such a sweetie to return a lady's delicates, and so handsome as well.
Well,
And since you have such a clear interest in fortune-telling, let me see your hands.
Oh, hell yeah.
They look so strong. Perhaps they will make both our fortunes clear, no?
I wish something would.
Strong. Yes, and yet so delicate and flexible.
You don't know the half of it.
Oh, good. I see a mysterious woman in your immediate future.
Madame Lorelei winks at Gabriel knowingly.
She is a dangerous one. Dark and beautiful. Ah, I see the road of your life forking. And very soon.
The blood drains from Madame Lorelei's face in an instant. Sweat beads on her upper lip.
Are you okay?
Oh God! Beware! Beware!
What is it about me lately?
I'm in danger!
You just have a way with women. Alright, let's write these symbols down. This is Marie Laveau's
I
tome.
want a copy of these strange marks. Could I have a minute of your time?
You got something to say, son?
Mind if I pick your brain a minute?
Go ahead. These folks ain't in no hurry.
Tell me something about St. Louis Cemetery, number 1.
You know why the dead are buried in tombs and not in the ground, don't you? The water table's too high. Them coffins would float right out of their graves. Them dead would go floating right down into the water. Course, if it were Mardi Gras, nobody'd even notice.
It's a scary thought.
Tell me.
It's a historical place. People buried in here from the Civil War and back further, too. Take a look around, you'll see.
Tell me.
Just look around, just look.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Ain't it just awful, them finding those bodies with voodoo things around them? I don't think there's any real voodoo going on. Somebody's trying to cover their tracks is all.
Let's go explore. Oh, what do we have here?
Malia.
Mr. Knight, what are you doing here?
My family's tomb is here.
Mine too.
I noticed. Subtle.
Well, Mr. Knight, if there's nothing else.
Don't go. I need to talk to you.
Whatever for.
I can't stop thinking about you. I've been in your thoughts too. I can see it in your eyes.
Mr. Knight, you don't know anything about me. I'm not in a position to get involved.
I've said that a million times myself, but this is different. I think we both know we can't fight it. Oh, I can't believe I'm saying this.
I have so many obligations. My family is very traditional. You wouldn't understand.
Hey, I love tradition. I've seen Fiddler on the Roof 100 times.
This isn't a musical, Mr. Knight. We live in different worlds.
Look, I know you've got more money than God. Do you think I care? Do you think that's why I'm saying this?
No, I don't.
Why don't you come see my world? I have a little bookshop, St. George's on Bourbon.
I know.
See? I knew it. You're crazy about me, too. Come by tonight. Please. My world isn't so bad.
I'm sorry, but there's no place for someone like you in my life. Not now, not ever.
Damn it.
Oh, Gabriel. You so silly. Let's go to her place first.
All right, but this is private.
This
The things I do for my art.
Yes? Who is it?
It's Father McLaughlin to see you.
Oh God, here we go.
Father McLaughlin, you say? You must be new in the parish. I'm so pleased to meet you, Father. Do come in.
Thank you.
You thought his
child.
regular accent was bad. Here we go.
Please be seated.
Thank you.
Now, what can I do for you?
It's so nice of you to invite me in.
Ah, but no, Monkey. I am always happy to see one of the good fathers.
Do you find the weather to your liking?
It's terribly humid. I only go out in the morning and evening.
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions, my child?
Of course not, mon père.
What can you tell me about
Oh
voodoo?
God, he looks so awful.
People think I'm just a foolish old woman, but I know the things they do. My family's been in New Orleans since 1750, so I know more than most. Voodoo people are all over this city, in the shops, everywhere. They'll curse you like that, and most people don't even notice.
I'm
Spit
in
on your bread at
danger!
the bakery. Take strands of your hair at the store when you try on the clothes. You have to be so careful. But I know their ways, so I can protect myself. I know how to use the magic too, and I can counteract their evil spells.
Tell me more about voodoo in New Orleans.
It's just plain evil. It's dangerous to even discuss it.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Voodoo murders? Ha! They are nothing new to me, Father. They happen all the time. I hardly go out anymore. It's too dangerous in the streets. They can get you
Oh, you know
anywhere
what?
want, even here in this room. But I try not to let them know about me.
I came here
That's
too
the best
early.
way.
Yeah, I came here too early. I need to go somewhere else.
I came.
Yeah.
Gabriel cannot open the...
Well, madame, I must be gone.
Of course, Father. I know how busy you must be then.
I just walked through a wall. Beautiful.
I'm not going back on the street looking like this.
I need to go to this presentation first.
looks like the lecture is just starting. Gabriel decides to record the session.
Voodoo is the tribal religion of
So
Africa.
this actually is real history.
Actually a banner heading under
I
which
doubt
resides
no one in chat really
entire
cares
body of
about this
distinct
though,
tribal
so
belief
I might just skip it.
The word voodoo may sound familiar to you. What is known in the States as voodoo is actually an amalgamation of African religious systems, voodoo, and European religions, primarily Catholicism.
We'll
All of the
probably do that
subcults of
because
African voodoo have
Gabriel
certain
ends
things in
up falling asleep anyway.
Some of these,
So we'll just,
the basis for the voodoo religion,
even though
seems
this
to
is
be
kind
as
of
old as
important,
man himself. It has much in common with many early pagan practices,
like this
animal
statue.
totems. Africa is believed by many to be the. We still can't explain some of the real power of these primal religions. And note, I said primal, not primitive. There are African Bokors who baffle our scientists with their supernatural powers. Now, let's discuss the elements of voodoo.
Fascinating guy.
In voodoo, the spirits are called the Loa. During a voodoo ceremony, celebrants are possessed by the Loa. And this is called being
Basically the spirits.
The human worshiper is seen as a horse.
So anyway, yeah, we'll probably skip most of this.
Some of the older Papa Nebo
Talks about the voodoo gods. But
I gotta
anyway,
get more sleep
yeah,
tonight.
Gabriel's gonna fall asleep.
Tribe-specific Loa. Voodoo temples are called houndfors. In a voodoo houndfor, there's a ritual circle marked.
Ritual circles, important.
The ritual circle is
A wheel
prepared
within
with
a wheel.
veil. During ritual conclaves, initiates the use of totems or ritual objects used during the
stagger.
That knife gives me the chill.
We saw that in our dream.
The ritual whip, or fouet cache.
I don't think we've seen that yet.
And the
This is at the
ritual
Voodoo
coffin, or
Museum.
seke madule. These items are often optional, called for by the Mama Loa. For the Mama Loa is the most powerful. The Mama Loa is the supreme woman. She.
Oh, he's falling asleep.
Firelight. No, what is it? Gabriel?
What? I can't see.
Gabriel, get in.
Can't. It's too small for me.
You must get in, Gabriel.
It's not mine. Too small.
Hide, Gabriel, hide.
No, no, let me out. Help.
I'm in danger.
Young man, the lecture is over.
Oh my God, sorry.
I haven't saved in like forever. We should probably do that. Alright.
Are you a student?
No. My name is Knight. Gabriel Knight.
Well, you have walked into my private office, Mr. Knight. I hope you have something worthwhile to do here. If you figure it out, let me know.
Your lecture was terrific.
Oh, you think so? You were snoring so loud I didn't think you'd heard it.
You must travel a lot.
Yes, to Africa, mainly.
I suppose having all this voodoo stuff sitting around doesn't make you nervous at all.
It's voodoo stuff, and no. Why should it?
Mind if I pick your brain?
Not if it will get you out of my office.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
You already sat through my lecture on the subject, Mr. Knight. Perhaps next time you could stay awake and learn something.
What can you...
You already sat through...
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
I've read about them in the papers. I must admit, to some interest. But according to the newspapers, the voodoo aspect is faked, so I haven't really pursued it. You know how Americans, especially Hollywood, treats voodoo. I'm sure there are many so-called practitioners out there that have no idea what they're doing, or the power they're playing with. As I said, I don't know anything, but
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
I find it interesting to see the occasional fragment of voodoo practices in the everyday culture of New Orleans.
Do you know anything about snakes?
I'm not a zoologist, Mr. Knight, but I know all I care to about reptiles.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's June 23rd, the feast day of St. John the Baptist. But June 23rd has
You
been a
love all
sacred
of
day
this,
since
Kane.
the
All of
earliest
it.
times. Ancient sun worshippers used to roll a flaming wheel down a hill to celebrate the sun's descent on that day.
A burning wheel? Huh.
Well, that ain't gonna be in your dream anytime soon. I promise.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
I'm not in the habit of repeating myself, Mr. Knight.
Do you have any idea what Cabrice encore means?
This is why I need to be here.
Yes, I do. It's a Haitian term, I believe. It's French, and literally translates as goat without horns.
As in a female goat?
No, as in a human sacrifice. Sacrifices in voodoo are usually of the animal variety. Chickens, bulls, goats. If the gods demand a goat without horns, it means a human being.
So, Cabrice Sancor is what that voodoo shop guy said when I asked about the voodoo murders. So he obviously knows way more than he's letting on.
What was that translation?
I'm not in the habit.
Do you know anything about Marie Laveau?
While I find the colloquial bastardizations of voodoo somewhat interesting from a sheerly intellectual point of view, there's not a lot of relation between people like Laveau and true voodoo practices.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
As I said in my lecture, which I assume you actually listened to, is that animal masks, totems, are used extensively in most African voodoo religions.
Tell me about Beves.
If you'd taken notes during my lecture, you wouldn't have to ask.
Tell me about yourself.
All right, Mr. Knight, I'm 35, a fully tenured professor at this university, as well as a fellow at Cambridge. My doctorate was obtained at Syracuse. Yes, Syracuse, in religious studies. I'm an agnostic, but I find human belief systems fascinating. I specialize in African religions because I grew up there. My father was a Protestant missionary. And I am heterosexual, when I practice sex at all, which isn't very often. Any other questions?
No.
Fine.
Tell me more about human sacrifice.
It's, very rare. Most voodoo practices do not include...
Burbs, I'm gonna go grab water.
It's a matter of record, but it is possible if that's what the gods demand. For example, one of the chants I had translated for me from a Haitian ritual went like this. Mistress Azuli, come and aid us. If a cock is demanded, we will give it. If a bull will suffice, behold it. But if a goat without horns is required for sacrifice, oh, where will we find one? Azuli is the gentlest of Loa, so they call on her for mercy. But I have seen grown and powerful Hungan tremble before a possession by one of the more violent Loa, such as Papa Nebo. Clearly, they are afraid that something of the sort will be ordered, or that the Loa will simply take it for themselves.
Tell me more.
I wouldn't dwell on it. Most voodoo sects probably haven't seen a human sacrifice for several generations.
Can you tell me anything about this pattern?
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. Mind if I copy this?
Be my guest.
Great. I'll be right back.
My desk getting caught on something. Hold on.
Here you go. You know, this is a fascinating baby. You must tell me all about its origin.
Actually, I was hoping you'd tell me. Can you figure out anything about it from the symbols?
Well, some. That's why I wanted a copy. I want to research the design myself. Each of the symbols in the veve represents something, a loa, a place. Where did you get this?
Have you heard of the voodoo murders?
No, you're kidding. Really? Then the voodoo is authentic.
Oh,
the
shit.
Are wrong. Boy, are they wrong.
You think this veve is authentic, then?
Authentic? Mr. Knight, that's like asking if the Mona Lisa is a painting. Tell you what, I'll look into these symbols myself and see what I can learn about the sect that made this. I'll give you a call when I have more information. You are associated with the police, aren't you?
Absolutely. But I'm, undercover. You can contact me at the St. George's bookshop in the quarter.
All right. Now, I'd like to get started on this if you don't mind.
AKA, get the fuck out. All right.
Okay, thanks.
Goodbye.
Originally, get the fuck out of my office to, oh my god. Voodoo murders are real. They're actually real religion. All right. Now that I know what Cabri Sancor means, I can go back here.
All right.
Time to put on my bad, awful hairstyle. Oh, yeah.
Yes? Who is it?
It's Father McLaughlin back again, don't you know?
Yes, Father.
Don't you know?
Please be seated.
Thank you.
Now, what can I do for you?
Do you mind if I ask...
If...
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Shh. They'll hear you.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? They're evil creatures. Did you know that evil people can send them into your dreams? They can. That's why I never sleep.
Right, thanks.
This lady.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
St. John's Eve? Mais oui. I used to love the St. John's Eve Mass at Sandwick Cathedral. Of course, it is also a night of great wickedness, worse than All Hallows Eve. They will corrupt anything, Father.
They? They who?
Oh, you know.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Sancor means?
Mais oui, I know. I bet you do not, Father, n'est-ce pas?
It means goat without horns.
Oh, Father, you surprise me. You do know what it means. You know what
Of course you love it.
Goat without horns.
I hate it.
A human being.
That fucking hair.
Slit your throat, cut out your heart. Pure evil.
Just look at that.
Do you know anything about human sacrifice here in New Orleans?
Well, my great-grandmother could tell stories. She saw it. People say that sort of thing wasn't done in New Orleans. But the real voodoo queens did it. Oh, yes.
Oh, shit.
Who were the real voodoo queens?
Well, my great-grandmother told me that Laveau was just a front, a flamboyant decoy. She distracted authorities from the real voodoo queen of New Orleans.
Oh, shit.
It's been the same one for almost 200 years. She's head of a secret voodoo enfant. That's what they call their temples, you know. It's so secret, most of the voodoo people in the city don't even know about it. The real voodoo queen controlled Laveau, gave her a little bit of power, and used her like a puppet.
Is there anything else you remember about the real voodoo queen?
Well, my great-grandmother said that the real voodoo queen was the most beautiful woman on earth. She had the most incredible copper-colored skin.
That all?
Is there...
Well, they are all brides of Satan. Other than that, I can't think of anything.
Can you tell me anything else about human sacrifice?
What is there to tell? They cut your heart out.
Tell me more about this secret voodoo hound four.
Well, I've never seen it. I wouldn't go near it if you paid me. But it's here in Orleans, I guarantee it. I hear the drums at night, oh yes. That's why I am so ill. I tell you, those drums. But we shouldn't talk about it. They'll hear us. It's the devil's work that happens there. I can tell you. I'll show you something. Something secret. You mustn't tell anyone, Father.
I swear on my collar.
Here it is, mon père. A true object of evil if there ever was one.
It radiates something, all right.
It belonged to my great-grandmother. She told my mother that it was a token to gain entrance to the real voodoo ceremonies.
You don't say.
To tell you the truth, I always felt nervous about having it in the house. You know, evil influence and all.
Oh, I can see how you would, yes.
And yet, I could never part with it. It's been in the family for generations. Would you bless it for me, Father? I feel strange asking such a thing of you, but surely you understand.
Bless this bracelet of a snake, even though its vibes aren't great. Let it do nobody harm.
What fucking
when
rhyme
they
is
wear
this?
it on their arm. Voodoo spirits, go away. Don't come back another day. And now, let us pray.
Lordy. Anyway, let's make a clay sculpt of this.
Gabriel has a thought about the clay.
Bless, oh bless this circlet of silver. Take the curse, oh take it, Wilbur.
A lovely blessing, mon père.
Yes, I think it made a lasting impression. Here you go.
I feel so much better now.
I bet. Time to go.
Gabriel cannot open the front door.
Time to go.
Gabriel.
Well, madame, I must be going.
Of course, Father. I know how busy you must be then.
There you go, walking through the wall again.
I'm not going back on the street looking like this.
Alright, let's go to this place. We have yet to go here. This is one of the
Welcome,
practitioners.
You must be the one Dr. John called me about.
I guess so. My name is...
Wait, Gabriel Knight?
You're too quick for me.
Actually, Dr. John told me. You have come to the right place, Mr. Knight. Tell me how I can help.
Do these symbols mean anything to you?
Oh, the voodoo code. It is very secret, yes. I studied it with my mentor, the great Queen Tabitha.
Really? Great. Can you tell me what it says?
Let's see. Well, some of it is nonsense, I'm afraid. Whoever wrote this wasn't very good.
That's all right. Just tell me what it says.
It starts with a D and a J, and then... Okay, this part makes sense. It says, conclave tonight, bring... then there's more nonsense. F-W-E-T-K-A-S-H. Well, that last bit might mean cash. Fresh cash? It doesn't make much sense.
That's okay, thanks. DJ Conclave. K-A-S-H. It's a start.
I'm happy I could help.
Could I ask you a few questions?
Of course, Seeker.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
My
Voodoo.
practice is mainly selling charms and potions with magic power, such as gree-gree and voodoo oils. You know, everything from unrequited love to wandering spouses to winning a lawsuit. But my spells and charms are powerful, and they work.
Oh, hell yeah.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Why, that has nothing to do with me and my clientele. But I can tell you that you should stay as far from it as possible.
Gabriel's
They're
not
as
a
bad as they are.
dumbass.
Very bad.
What can you tell me about New Orleans?
New Orleans.
New Orleans is the center of voodoo practice in the United States.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Snakes? You mean like my beloved Grimwald? She's a python, you know. Quite deadly in the...
Of St. John's Eve.
St. John's Eve? It is the greatest night of the voodoo year. There is always a traditional conclave on St. John's Eve. Most of our voodoo churches these days hold functions in the church hall. But in the old days, they had ceremonies out in the wild, and they wore animal masks and had a huge bonfire and dancing. I used to go when I was an apprentice. Sometimes in the swamp, you know. Bayou St. John. Sometimes at the lake, Lake Pontchartrain.
I'm sure that never happens still.
I'm in danger!
What?
Special ceremonies are performed, and the Loa come to ride the faithful.
Yeah, internet trying to die again. Looks like it's coming back. Oh, it's plummeting again. Let's see here. Well, it's showing it's still pretty low. Who knows? I might just have to take a break. Yeah, it's going between... So it's going between stable levels to super low. It's like trying to fight the good fight. And it's exactly at 12:30 again. Like, they've got to be doing something nightly. So we might just have to buckle up for a minute. Yeah, like right now I'm at 200 kbs, which is pretty fucking low. And it probably doesn't look too bad because there's nothing moving on the screen right now. 10 kb, 0. 600. Yeah, sorry. We're probably just gonna have to hang out for a second. Huh. Wonder why it's doing that. I'd be very curious. See what's going on. Cause yeah, I called Cable One yesterday, and they said at least corporate wise, there was no announcement of them doing anything in our area. So, my, I don't even know what you'd call it, chapter of Cable One or Sparklight might be doing some kind of maintenance and just isn't saying anything.
What happened?
Exactly, Skelemantics. Skella, are you night owls like us? Like, well, yeah, Kane's a night owl, but I mean, I'm a night owl. Kane's kind of a selective night owl. Oh, 0. We're at 0 again. Come on, put up the good fight. Put up the good fight. Oh, you work till 11, huh? Oh, cool. Yeah, that used to be my old schedule. Now I work a split, so I like get to work at noon and then get off around 8:30. 8:30ish. Sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later. I wonder if it'd even be beneficial to reset my router. It doesn't seem to. Ooh, what's this? I'm excited for this, by the way. The new Sherlock Holmes game. It's supposed to be open world, I think. The last two Sherlock Holmes games have been pretty good. But I can't. There's probably no point in playing the video. Do we work together? Wait, so do you work at SCL? Is it one of those things that I know who you are, but I don't know who you are? Knowing how dense I am, I probably should know completely who you are, but I'm drawing a blank. As I do. Oh, you took Kane's job, okay. Kane. I remember when he worked. Oh, you're Bree, okay. Cool. Okay, we are at 1000 kbs. 1200. Okay, if it stays in that range for like a minute or so, we'll continue. Because this is the most stable it's been. Granted, it should be at like 5000. But 1000 is doable. Oh, we're at 2. Okay, we might be good. We're going up. All right. How did I not know this? I don't know. I just work here.
Could I ask you a few more?
Said.
All right. What do I know? I need to get a snake scale. So.
About Grimwald.
What about her?
How about showing me how you handle Grimwald?
Really? You would like to see me dance, perhaps?
That would be swell.
I won't make you wait, Monsieur Knight.
Oh, hell yeah.
No matter what you see.
Yeah, no, I know in Kirk's Discord we all kind of know each other one way or another, but it's not one of those things that I like, you know, if that makes sense. Like, there's some people in the Discord that, you know, talk, not necessarily frequently, but, like, I don't know who they are.
Snake skin while Magenta is otherwise occupied.
What a great show, Steel Snakeskin.
Truly inspiring, isn't it?
That's certainly one word for it.
This is kind of where I draw a blank. I don't think I need anything else from her.
Do you know anything about a secret voodoo hanfu?
There are many voodoo churches in New Orleans, no?
Yes, but have you heard of a secret voodoo hanfu?
Well,
yeah, our group is so fucking busy right now. You guys have been busy pretty much from the get-go, but like our side of work now, let's just say the top brass is now finally concerned, and it's like, yeah, we've been asking for help for like literally 2 years and no one was listening, and now it's like, okay, you're kind of, yeah, you're borderline too late. Gree spells.
Give me an
isn't
example
it?
of it.
All right.
No, we're not gonna listen to that. Okay, so I think this is all we need from her.
This is...
So I actually know what this is. I won't reveal what this says till a little later, actually. But I'm pretty sure I know what it says.
Well, I guess I'll be going now.
We want some plot points to get revealed first.
May the protection of the snake god go with you.
Thanks.
Yeah, see, we don't... Well, we finally got that. We finally have a job shadow that, like, we're able to keep, finally. And we just got her a desk. She was working, basically, out on the floor doing our stuff. And it was like... That ain't gonna cut it. That ain't good.
Hi. Can I ask you just a few...
Wonder if I can tell him I know what this means now.
I found out what Caprice encore means. How did you know about human sacrifice?
I never said those words, monsieur. You must have heard them from someone else.
Uh-huh.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
Like the ones in the voodoo rituals they do for the tourists?
Right.
I used to sell a few as souvenirs. The only one left is Willie Jr. over there. The old crocodile. Well, he's sort of a mascot now, him.
About Willie Jr., would you be willing to let him go?
Maybe. For $100.
$100? You gotta be kidding.
Me and Willie Jr. very close now. I could park with him for less.
Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price is $100.
Alright, so I think this can go multiple ways. I think technically we can end the day. But I need to find a way to get $100, which...
Lucy, I'm home.
The fuck?
The excitement of seeing you is killing me.
If I wait around... Now let's save, actually. Because there's a... Oh, perfect timing.
Hey, kids.
Bruno, how nice.
Gee, a customer.
Of yours? Hardly.
How's the flower business?
Well, better than the used book business, I see.
Rare books.
That explains why I so rarely see anyone in here. Are you going to sell me that wonderful painting of yours today?
How much would you give me for it, Bruno?
Gabriel, don't you dare sell your father's painting.
Stay out of this, Grace.
Ooh, you're serious? You'll let me have it?
Yeah, I'll let you have it, all right. How much for the painting?
Well, I could give you 100. That's all I can let go at the moment, you know. My fares are so tied up.
Gabriel, $100 for your father's painting?
Grace, let me deal with this.
Boom!
Fine, it's yours.
Gabriel!
Here's the 100.
You better take good care of this, Bruno. This is not just another of your hip art pieces, you know.
Really? Well, I fully intend to make the most of its display, though not for your sake, I'm sure. At least in my shop, there'll be a chance of someone actually seeing it. I can't believe I actually got it. Just wait until I show Sid.
I don't believe you!
It's just a painting, Grace. There are things I have to do.
For science.
I'm going out.
See ya.
Oh look, I got $100.
Hi. I have $100. You still want to sell that crocodile mask?
That's $100, sure enough. The mask, it's yours, sir. Here you go. Careful it don't bite you now.
Yeah, thanks.
Don't you go forgetting your lagniappe. A free bottle of Master Gambling Oil.
The sign said I could get Lady Luck oil instead.
Well, I wasn't thinking a man as young as you would be needing that kind of remedying. But if you's having problems with your...
Oh, that's all right. Believe me, I don't need it. I'll just stick with this. Thanks, anyway.
Of course, it ain't none of my business if you do need it.
I don't need it.
Of course you don't.
Alright, we got gambling oil. We don't know about this yet because I haven't went there, but we're gonna finally go to the bar. Just pretend I've talked to everyone here, okay? Okay.
Gabriel has no reason.
Well, maybe I do actually have to
Could I
find
ask
out.
you a few questions?
Sure. I'm not too busy at the moment.
What can you tell me about your regulars in here?
This crowd, the ones you see, are mostly regulars. That guy and girl in the corner come here a lot. When they're not fighting, they're all over each other. In other words, they're in love.
What can you tell me about your regulars in here?
See those old guys at the chess table? That's Sam and Marcus. They played every day for 20 years. Sam, the one with the purple jacket, he's lost every one of those games. It's not that he's a bad player. I've seen him beat guys twice as good as Marcus. But Marcus has Sam so psyched out, he loses his nerve every time.
What can you...
I'd call you a regular, Gabe. And one of our local writer celebrities, too. Been coming in here, what, 10 years now?
Don't remind me.
We're still waiting for that bestseller.
Don't hold your breath.
Gabriel.
Nothing like a good game of chess, huh?
Yeah, well, this isn't a good game. This is torture.
Oh, well. Have fun. Excuse me. I hate to interrupt your game, but could I ask you a few questions?
What game? This isn't a game. It's a slaughter.
He's right, you know, so let me die in peace, would you?
Checkmate! Again.
Son of a bitch.
Gabriel has no reason to think Sam.
Could I ask you...
Sure.
What can you tell me?
That's about all I...
How do I get the conversation going?
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Voodoo? I don't believe in it myself. I invented a drink once called Laveau's Tomb, but it wasn't very popular. Some people do believe, though.
Oh,
Even
okay.
some of our regulars here at Napoleon House. That guy Sam, the chess player, oh, he's really into voodoo. He's always talking about spells and gree-gree and stuff.
Really? Great, thanks. So what has Sam told you about voodoo?
Well, about 50 years ago, Sam was too shy to talk to this pretty girl he was in love with. He went to a voodooine and had her make him a love charm. It was a little pouch that he had to bury under the girl's front porch.
Lordy.
He buried the pouch, and the next day, he went up and talked to the girl. And, sure enough, she didn't reject him. Now she's his wife. Poor guy.
Okay, that should be enough.
Got a second, Sam? It's about your game.
I don't have a game. That's my problem. Don't you touch those chess pieces while I'm gone, you bastard.
I ain't never needed to cheat yet, you loser.
Thought you might be interested in this gambling oil.
Let me see that. Master Gambling Oil. What's it for?
This is a powerful voodoo oil.
Ah, go on. Really?
Don't you ever wonder why Marcus wins every time?
Marcus? Using voodoo? That old bastard.
Pitiful, isn't it?
Let me see that bottle. Oh, this looks authentic.
Oh, it is.
If I could really beat that bastard. Stonewall, give me a Pim's cup, would you?
Coming up, Sam.
How much you think I'd put in here?
Careful. You don't want to overdo it. Too much luck can be dangerous.
What? There's no such thing as too much. Now stand back.
Come on already. I'm ready to checkmate.
We'll see about that, Mr. Schmuddy Big Mouth. Checkmate! Checkmate, you bastard!
Son of a bitch.
20 years I've been waiting to say that. Checkmate, checkmate, checkmate!
You are the biggest butthead Sam Singleton that I ever met.
That voice sounds so familiar.
You can just put this chessboard where the sun don't shine.
Hallelujah, I did it! Yippee!
Nice game.
Nice game. Hell, I was brilliant! Course, I gotta give some of the credit to that oil of yours. I've been losing to that guy for 20 years. If you ever need a favor, you come to Sam, you hear?
Will do.
Oh, do I have a favor?
Could you do anything with this?
What is this? A clay mold? Well, I am a jeweler, you know. And I owe you one. Would you like me to cast this for you?
If you can.
You got it, pal. Actually, it'll be a pleasure to get my tools out. First time in years. I've been too busy playing that goddamn game. I'll have the bracelet tomorrow. Meet me here.
Great, thanks.
It's getting late. Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
Hell yeah. Bitch, get out of my house. Oh, who's that?
Excuse me. I'm going inside.
Oh, excuse me, I'm afraid St. George's is closed for the day.
I'm not a customer. I'm here to see the owner.
Why don't you just leave your name and number with me, and I'll tell him you stopped by.
Listen, if Gabriel is here, he'll want to see me. Is he here?
Really couldn't say for certain, but in the morning.
Gracie, say goodnight.
I came.
You came. I didn't think you would.
I didn't think I would either.
I cracked myself up.
Oh, I could show you around a little. Yeah, it's not much, but...
Please, don't. I couldn't focus on much of anything right now.
Yeah, I know. God, what is it about you?
Just shut up and kiss me.
Oh, shit. Day 4. Oh, she stayed the night. Oh, I noticed my internet's being a potato again. Kind of. Getting there. We're gonna call this save Internet Lulz. Wait for my internet. How is it on your guys' end? Is it starting to... What? What you laughing about? What? Or is that my internet is being super late? Kind of waiting for my internet. Alright, the internet looks like it's stabilizing again.
You're not speaking to me this morning?
Don't be silly. I just have nothing to say.
Have it your way. Have you noticed this guy outside the shop?
Yeah. He gives me the creeps. I wish he'd go away.
Get the hell out of here.
The figure outside does not respond.
Get the hell out of here.
The figure... Heinz Picahune, dated June 21st, 1993. Gabriel's eye is immediately drawn to an article about the voodoo murders. He scans it quickly.
I don't believe this. They've closed the case.
What case?
The voodoo murders case. The paper says that the police have learned that the murders were the result of an underworld cartel war and that the war is over.
That's not good.
It's ridiculous. What about the killers? And the voodoo angle, they never got anything on that.
I know you were into it, Gabriel. But if it's over, that's hardly a negative. Anyway, if you're that upset, why don't you talk it over with your pal Mosley?
You don't get it, Grace. Just forget it, okay?
Gabriel decides to check his horoscope, despite his disgust. Death walks close to you today. Resist temptation, lest his eye fall on you too.
Peachy. Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Could you do some research? I have a pattern I need you to research.
How interesting. What is it?
It's a reconstruction of the tracings they found around the murder victims. The ones done in flour and blood.
Ugh. You shouldn't carry this kind of thing around. Who knows what these symbols mean?
Well, wear your evil banishing gloves if you want. But check it out for me, would you?
I'll see what I can find out. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Do you have...
Nope.
Alright, my bandwidth is going up a little higher now. Alright, let's go get...
See you later.
Have fun.
Go get that jewel.
Sam, my man.
Hey there, it's you. I got that bracelet for you. This piece was a real toughie. For some reason, the metal just wasn't setting. I must be out of practice.
Well, it looks good to me. Thanks, Sam.
No problem. By the way, I'm heading out of town tonight.
Yeah, where to?
Marcus used to tell me that if I ever beat him at chess, he'd take me around the world. The old bastard has enough money stuffed in his mattress to cover the federal deficit, and he hates spending a penny of it. I'm gonna enjoy watching him squirm through every mile.
Sounds like fun. Good luck.
Are you kidding? Luck is my middle name.
Alright. Oh hey! The lady's back, who ran away from me.
You're back. You know, you really freaked me out running off like that. Yoo-hoo! Anybody home?
Uh-oh.
Stay away from Malia Getty, or you shall pay with your life.
I'm in danger.
What the hell is going on?
Hey, it's Crash. And he's avoiding me. Well. You know what I say to that? Let's go to the Overlook. Let's spy on him. Whispering to a drummer.
That's Crash. What the hell is he up to with that drummer?
And he went to the cathedral. Alright. It's gonna start getting real.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm praying. Leave me alone.
I need to talk to you. Ask you some questions.
No way, man. I'm too sick. Let's go away.
Come on. I have to know what you know about these voodoo people.
You don't know nothing about nothing, man. You're so far out of it, you wouldn't understand anything. Just like that friend of yours, Mosley. Go away.
I'm not like Mosley. I know more than you think I do. I'll believe you.
Forget it, man. It's not worth my breath.
Do you recognize this?
Where'd you get that?
Why? Do you know something about it?
Know something about it?
Look at this. Crash opens his shirt and reveals a tattoo.
It's the same snake.
It's their sign. The mark of the snake. Without it, they'll never let you get close.
The sign of the snake. Right. Your tattoo, my bracelet. Now, do you believe that I know something about these people?
Yeah. You know about them, I guess.
Will you answer some questions for me now?
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll talk to you a little. I'll make it fast.
He looks very sick.
Tell me what you know about voodoo.
Look, just take some advice. Stay away from this voodoo shit. You don't really want to know, man. Believe me. Just do yourself a favor and leave me alone.
I want to know about the voodoo murders.
You're on the right track. That's all I can say. I'm not gonna risk my life by talking about it, man.
Do you have any idea what Cabri Sans Coeur means?
I never heard of that.
Do you know anything about snakes?
The eyes. Snake's eyes. Dambala.
Okay, calm down. What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
Nothing. Just leave me alone.
Tell me what you know about a secret voodoo hanfour in New Orleans.
Oh, man. Shut up about that shit. Can't you see I'm sick? Are you trying to kill me?
Do you know anything about animal masks?
No. Leave me alone about that shit.
What do you mean? You've seen them, haven't you?
Not me. Leave me alone.
I saw you talking to that drummer. What did you tell him?
You saw me with the drummer? Nobody's supposed to see. Shit. I blew it again. Promise you won't say nothing to no one. It'll get back to him. Everything does. Promise me you won't tell anyone you saw me.
Okay, but you have to tell me everything I want to know.
Okay. Okay. I was sending a message, man. They have these Rada drummers posted around the quarter. They see everything. And they report.
Report? How?
The drums, man. It's some kind of code.
Tell me about the Rada drums.
I already told you about that.
Now tell me about the voodoo murders.
They did the murders. And that's not the only way they kill. They can get you from miles away just by saying your name.
Come on, you don't really believe that, do you?
I seen it, man. You can't cross them.
I'm in danger!
Do you know anything about snakes?
The eyes.
Okay. Tell me more about the voodoo murders.
There's nothing more to tell. They kill people.
Now tell me what you know about voodoo.
All I know is these people are into some weird shit. They have power. Real power. They can write your name on a piece of paper, chew it, and you end up eating some meat. Like you've been through a grinder. They know things in their heads. Things that no one ever knew about you. They know when you lie. They can smell it. They're fucking scary, man. I don't know if it's the devil or what. But it ain't no fake shit, man. It's real.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
They always met outside somewhere at night. I saw them last year dancing and howling. You don't want to be anywhere near them.
Tell me what you know about a secret voodoo hanfour in New Orleans.
All right. There's this is an underground cartel in New Orleans. A voodoo cartel. They control everything that happens on the street. I mean everything. Bought or sold. They have their fingers in the legit world too. Banks, foreign stuff, you name it. There's supposed to be this temple. What you said, a hound for. That's their headquarters. I heard people say it's underground. Somewhere in the French Quarter. I don't know where.
Have you ever been there?
No. I've never been in it. I'm a nobody. A runner. But I saw them once. Out at the lake. They became animals, man. Beasts. I remember the eyes. The eyes.
Hey, are you okay?
The eyes. The eyes of the snake.
I think I should go get a doctor. Hey, are you alright?
Someone! I need help!
The eyes of the snake. Dambala.
Oh, what snake? Crash!
Crush spasms twice more, then dies as Gabriel wanted.
Oh, God. Poor bastard.
Uh-oh. Well, let's mark this tattoo.
I guess I better copy this tattoo.
It's getting late. Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
That was a very short day.
Hello?
It's me. I can't sleep.
Me neither.
Can I?
Yes. Come.
Oh, shit. Booty call. And he didn't dream. Actually, he didn't dream both nights. Day 5.
Are you okay, Gabriel?
Sure. Great. Why?
I'm worried about you.
If I were any better, Grace, I'd be dead. Now, what's up? Did you find out anything about that pattern I gave you?
Yeah, I did find something. I checked the microfiche at the public library. I found an article about a murder in 1810. The newspaper published a part of a pattern found around the body. It looks damn close.
You're incredible. All that work.
Forget it. You got another package this morning. FedEx from Germany.
I was expecting that. Where is it?
Well, it kind of came open, but I salvaged the contents. There was a letter from your great-uncle Wolfgang and a journal.
The package just came open, huh? How'd you like the journal?
Someone has to look after you. You're in trouble. In case you don't know it.
Yeah, you've been reading my horoscope again, haven't you, Grace?
Just read the journal carefully, Gabriel. Please.
I got it. St. George's books. Oh, Professor Hartridge, I'm glad you called. Did you... You did? Wait, slow down. The Aigris? Really? You think that's them? The wheel within a wheel? A goon badagris, huh? Well, that does sound like it. Dambala, the snake. That's the wavy pattern at the bottom, okay. The 1791 slave revolt in Santo Domingo. Well, why would the Veve show up there? Huh. Okay. 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 Look, I'll come over as soon as I can. Okay. Relax, Professor. I'm excited too, but you're gonna give yourself a heart attack. Okay. Thanks. See ya.
Monka
I
W.
wish you'd tell me what's going on. I swear you're gonna step into a hole you may never get out of.
Don't look so worried. No one knows what I'm doing. I'm perfectly safe. And I'm getting some great stuff for the book. Besides, there's something about all this. My dreams.
What about your dreams?
Nothing. I'll be careful, I promise.
Times Picayune, dated June 22nd, 1993. Disgusted with the state of the voodoo murder case, Gabriel turns right to his horoscope. The shadow upon you is no longer reversible.
Oh, shit.
Wonderful.
Uh-oh. Okay, let's read that journal first. Or the letter. I think it's this one.
Wolfgang's letter says,
Dear Gabriel, please read the enclosed journal carefully. It might help you understand your family's special obligations and our current predicament. God be with you, Uncle Wolfgang.
All right, here we go.
Gabriel reads through the pages Wolfgang marked. He reads of Gunter Ritter's journey to Charleston as witch hunter, hired by the townsmen to solve a series of ritualistic murders. He reads about Gunter's meeting with a beautiful slave woman, Tetelo, and of Gunter's tormenting urges for her.
Oh, bastard.
He reads of their physical union and passion,
Uh-oh.
and of Gunter's investigations into the murders. The victims were all crew members on a certain slaving expedition to Africa, it seemed. The second to the last entry described Gunter's plan to set a trap for the coven committing the murders. He found the name of one of the surviving members of the crew, a man now living in the West Indies. Gunter has spread a false rumor that the man is returning to Charleston. He himself will impersonate a sailor and allow himself to fall into the hands of the coven. Naturally, Gunter has arranged for able-bodied assistants to follow and attack the coven before they can do him harm.
Halsey, son of a bitch, wasn't he?
Gabriel turns to the final entry of the journal.
All right, and this is where I have to read. So his last entry. So to recap, in case you can't understand her, this is an ancestor that got sent as a witch hunter to solve ritualistic murders. He falls in love with a slave girl in the middle of this, and he discovers that there's a survivor of a group, basically slavers, that were going to Africa. They were all dead besides one. And he figured that out, and he decided to make a trap and pretend that that survivor was coming back to that town, so the coven would go after them. Anyway, so he sprung that trap, and then this is the final chapter of it. Dear Father, I offer these final words as apology for the harm done to our sacred office. The woman I wrote of, Tetelo, was the witch I sought. I have committed terrible crimes. I loved this witch, then betrayed her, and then used our sacred family power to free her and aid her in destroying this colony. The talisman is gone. Tetelo took it. I can but pray for thy forgiveness, for thy swift recovery of the talisman, and that my punishment in hell will be long and bitter. Thy undeserving son, Gunther. So it sounds like our family lost an artifact that we had while solving this serial killings, because he fell in love with a woman that was doing the killings. Whoopsie. And then Grace gave me an article from 1810 in our local area that had a murder with symbols matching ours that we wrote down from the murders.
The newspaper clipping describes a ritualistic murder in Congo Square. It includes a rough sketch of a pattern found around the body. The sketch is very similar to the reconstructed Veve.
So, it's very possible that similar murders happened over 100 years ago. Spooky! Alright, now let's go to the university.
I'm going out.
Because the professor was super excited to talk to us. He deciphered the circle. Let's go!
Hey, Hot Ridge, what's the good word? Hot Ridge?
Ah!
Oh, God, not again.
I'm in danger!
And another person is dead. 2 dead in 2 days, all around me.
Something about Hartridge's death mask reminds Gabriel of the way Crash checked out. Not a pretty ending. That would be up to something.
These notes look interesting. Nothing else looks related to my case. I'm not touching that body.
Hartridge's notes are scribbled on notepad paper.
The Agree Tribe, the People's Republic of Benin, and Dr. John actually said that's where voodoo originated from, which is now Haiti. Dumbala the Snake, which is what Crash said right before he died. And then Ogun Badagri, which I think is a voodoo god. Dumbala is too, though. I think they both are.
Before leaving the university, Gabriel notifies campus security about Hartridge's body.
Let's go to the museum.
Why is it so dark, Dr. John? Hello?
I'm in danger!
Oh God, it's a snake!
Why move that? Why move that? Move.
This is the fucking same button. Just do it.
You bastard!
Good day, Mr. Knight.
That thing just tried to kill me.
He did? I am sorry. The museum is closed today, you see, and we were not expecting visitors. But if you will excuse me, Mr. Knight, I must go look for him. He is incredibly valuable.
You don't need to ask twice. I'm out of here. By the way, you might want to lock your door next time you're closed.
Not a bad idea. Goodbye, Mr. Knight.
What happened to you?
Who, me? Nothing. Why?
Well, you're kind of a pale green color. Come here.
Pale green, you say? Charming.
What's that on your face?
I'm sure you'll tell me.
Looks like a sparkly or something. Got it.
I love it when you pick stuff off my face, Grace.
Well, excuse me.
Looks like the python left me a souvenir. Very interesting.
Those two objects. Gabriel magnifies the snake scale from the Voodoo Museum's python. The iridescent scale is brilliantly hued with greens and purples. Gabriel magnifies the scale from the lake. It's hued with purples and greens. It matches the scale from the Voodoo Museum. He places the two scales together.
Uh-oh. Does that mean the museum snake was at the scene of the crime?
Gabriel has matched the Lake Pontchartrain scale with the scale from the museum python. There's no...
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
Could you do some research? Could you research Rada drums for me?
Rhododrum? Sure. I don't think we have any books on that topic in the shop, but I'll contact our suppliers. Assuming any of them will extend you any credit.
Tell them it's an emergency.
Uh-huh. I can see where a Rhododrum book would be incredibly urgent. Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay.
All right.
See you later.
Don't hurry back on my account.
Time to go to the police station. So we haven't talked to Mosley since the case got force closed. Oh look, there's a drummer here now too. They're starting to be everywhere.
I'm in danger.
Hey, hey, hey. Knight, come on in. Knight, I hate to tell you this, but you're out of a book. The Voodoo Murders case has been closed.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, son of a bitch. I have to tell you, Bud, I'm pretty pissed off about this case being closed. You guys are making a big mistake.
I'm not any happier about it than you are, Knight, but I got my orders.
I have to tell you, Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Crash is dead.
What? What are you talking about? I let him go yesterday.
Yeah, and I watched him die yesterday at St. Louis Cathedral.
At the cathedral? Guess he was trying to get a last-minute A-train ticket, huh? Poor bastard.
I think you should go find the body at the morgue. He was killed by the voodoo cult. Crash said.
Crash said? Did he mention pink elephants, too?
Aren't you going to investigate?
Civilians. Did you actually see someone kill him?
No. Actually, I was with him when he died. Could have been poison, though.
Yeah, well, when they get the body in, they'll do a quick autopsy. Standard procedure. If it's anything other than an overdose, I'll get a report. But it won't happen. I know these guys. Lock them up overnight, and they tend to overdo it the next day.
Your professionalism is astonishing. How can I convince you to reopen the case?
Look, the department's not interested.
So? Couldn't you make them interested?
With what? I've got 7 bodies and still no leads. The voodoo angle's worthless. And besides, these people aren't hurting anybody but out-of-town drug dealers and hitmen.
The voodoo stuff is not worthless. It's the key to the whole thing. And these people are dangerous. They need to be stopped.
Okay. You want me to reopen this case? Prove what you just said.
What do you mean?
You need to prove there's a legitimate voodoo cult in New Orleans. Prove that they're a threat. Get me a lead on the cult.
There's been another murder. A professor at Tulane.
Oh, Christ, you're not gonna start this again.
Just listen. This guy's name is Hartridge. He was a professor in African studies at Tulane. Yesterday, I went to see him about the voodoo murders case. He agreed to do some research for me. He calls me up this morning, tells me he's onto something big. And when I get over there, the guy's dead.
You know, you're really getting your ass in a sling over this thing, Knight.
It's not about me. Look, Hartridge's death looked just like Crash's. I'm telling you, they were both murdered. And by the same people who did the voodoo murders.
Did either Crash or this new guy have their hearts ripped out?
No.
Then there's nothing to link either to the voodoo murders, M.O. Besides that, the case is closed, Knight. If the coroner's report asks for a homicide investigation on either of these guys, fine. But it's not going to be related to the voodoo murders case unless we find damn good reason to do so.
But I'm the link to the voodoo murders case, don't you see?
Look, if I were you, I wouldn't repeat that to anyone. If I weren't an old friend of yours, I might take you seriously and lock you up. As it is, maybe you should start keeping your mouth shut. Not involve other people with this shit if you think it's so dangerous.
This is a newspaper clipping about a murder committed in 1810. That murder is an exact match of the voodoo murders, right down to the marks around the bodies.
This does sound like the same M.O. 1810?
1810. They killed then, they're killing now. Isn't that proof that they're likely to kill again? That they are a threat?
Sure. If there is a voodoo cult, they're a threat.
You know those marks you found around the murder victims? This is a reconstruction of the whole pattern.
What makes you think this is an accurate reconstruction?
Well, I borrowed the partial patterns from your police file and did my own tracing of the pattern at Lake Pontchartrain. An architectural artist reconstructed it for me from the partials.
Really? So this is the whole pattern, huh? Well, that's pretty good work, Knight. But that doesn't prove that this pattern is really connected to voodoo.
But this does.
Take a look at these notes. They're from Professor Hartridge at Tulane University.
Yeah? And what about them?
They confirm that the pattern from the murders is of African origin.
Really? It's incredible, isn't it? Something like that showing up here?
It's been here for quite some time, so it seems.
I'm impressed. Okay, you've convinced me. The murders were done by a legitimate voodoo cult.
Now for your lead.
I have these two snake scales. One's from the crime scene at Lake Pontchartrain. The other's from a snake in the Voodoo Museum on Ursulines and Charters.
Is this common? Do they all look alike?
Not at all. They're both constrictor scales, and the coloring is the same. A python's coloring is quite individualistic.
A python?
That's right. Hardly an indigenous snake to Louisiana. Somehow, some way, the Voodoo Museum's python was at the scene of the Lake Pontchartrain murder.
Well, I'd call that a lead, all right. Certainly suggests certain lines of inquiry at the museum. Not bad work, Knight. If we can tie them into this voodoo cult, we just might have something.
Augers.
Okay, I'll reopen the case. I hate to admit it, but you've done some pretty good detective work here, Knight.
Well, you know what they say. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Well, point taken. Glad I could inspire you. I'll check around the department, but I have a feeling I'm on my own. In fact, I better lock up this office just in case I step on a few toes. Come on.
Shit's pretty much gonna get real from here on out. I mean, it already has been. We've had 2 people die on me.
Now, lay low and let me handle this.
Yeah, fine.
It's getting late. Gabriel decides to go home for the day.
Booty call. Oh shit.
Dang.
Back to dreams. Day 6. We're about halfway over. Actually, we're probably more than halfway over. The fuck is that?
What is it? What's wrong?
Gabriel?
I see it, Grace. Hold on.
There's no one in the shop, and I know there's no one in back. It's okay.
Okay? Gabriel, that thing is still barely alive. How could someone do this?
With a knife, maybe?
God, don't even start. We should call the police.
No. I'll take care of it.
But Gabriel...
I said I'll take care of it. Why don't you go get some coffee? I'll have it all cleaned up before you get back.
They know where you live now.
I'm in danger!
It's gonna be fine. Now go on.
Later.
Are you sure you don't want to go home? I could close the shop today.
No. I'd rather keep busy. I'll be fine. At least that creepy guy is gone. Ugh. Not that they aren't still watching. Anyway, speaking of keeping busy, we got that book you ordered in this morning. The one on Rada drums.
Really? Great.
The book contains several pages of Rada drum.
Gabriel!
I see it. Stay back.
It's just an envelope.
I can see that.
Envelope? Open it.
Gabriel opens the envelope and finds a note from Mosley and a small brass key. Mosley's note says,
Gabe, I have to go underground with this thing. It runs wide and deep throughout the department and the city board. I'm already being watched. It was suggested I take vacation time, so I am, at least as far as they know. Try to keep out of this. It's too hot for a rookie. Just in case, I'm sending you my office key. You might find some useful things there. P.S. I think this note will look great in the book, don't you? Make sure you save it.
The note is signed, Detective Mosley.
We do need to get into his office.
Times Picayune, dated the 23rd of June, 1993. Gabriel finds an article about St. Jean's Eve. It discusses the day's Catholic roots.
Oh, yep. I think tonight's the big night. St. John's Eve.
In the early to mid-1800s, St. Jean's Eve was celebrated with elaborate voodoo gatherings at Lake Pontchartrain, Bayou St. Jean, and other sites outside the city. These days, the day is commemorated commercially in some of the local shops, and a few churches still hold a St. Jean's Eve Mass. Despite his better judgment, Gabriel reads his horoscope. Today you will either die or your life will change forever.
Sure, why not? It is St. John's Eve. They'll be out tonight for sure. But where? Are you gonna be okay here by yourself?
I'll be just fine. Just fix this, okay?
I'm trying, Gracie.
Hello. What can I do for you, sir?
What happened to the guy who used to be here?
The lucky dog guy? I took over his spot.
Say, haven't I seen you before?
I get around the French Quarter. Used to be at Royal and Conti.
You say you used to be at Royale and Conti?
That's right.
Why'd you leave Royal and Conti?
Well, the guy who used to be here, the lucky dog guy, he was my cousin Ralph. He went off to college, see, and this spot came open. I thought Jackson Square'd be a better gig, you know? Tourists and all.
Is it?
Well, no, actually.
Why don't you go back there?
Do you think? I've been kind of torn. Must be the weather. These thick clouds we've had all week. I'm just not seeing the crowds here that I expected.
I definitely think you should go back to Royal and Conti.
That's what a police station is, by the way.
I'm glad you think so. I always liked that beat, but I thought I ought to give this a shot.
Oh, absolutely. The grass is always greener.
Exactly. You're right. I'm going back over there today.
And that fortune teller lady's still not back. Alright, so now that we have the Ratadrum book, find out what these fuckers are saying.
Gabriel listens carefully to the drums and opens his Rada book to translate. If Gabriel's translation of the drum code is correct, there'll be a conclave tonight in the swamp. That must be the bayou.
Alright, that's where St. John's Eve is gonna be at. Tonight at the swamp. Oh shit. But we don't know where. The swamp's huge. Oh look! These changed.
Let me get these new marks down.
And let's compare a translation with the other one.
Gabriel checks the two messages for duplicate symbols and transfers the letters from the matches to the new message. He finds that he has the translation for all of the symbols, except for 3.
Alright, so now that we kind of know that that python from the museum was at that murder, we can reveal some more stuff. So going back to what was written on this tomb, it says DJ Conclave tonight. DJ is Dr. John. Conclave tonight. Bring FWET cash. Bring cash, basically.
Gabriel.
So Dr. John was supposed to bring cash to a conclave. Here's our new one. DJ, which is Dr. John again. Keep EW or E blank E's, which we can decipher. DJ, keep eyes on GK. B blank T. So filling in the vowels that are missing. DJ, keep eyes on JK Gabriel Knight, but do nothing. Oh, but Dr. John, keep eyes on Gabriel Knight, but do not harm. So someone told Dr. John to keep their eye on me, but don't hurt him. So obviously they're onto me. If the dead chicken in the bookstore this morning wasn't, you know, a hint enough. But anyway, we need to get into Detective Mosley's office.
Hey, it's a beignet guy. He's back.
Where?
Grab me 3 or 4, would ya?
Forget it, I'm broke.
Rats. You stay put. I'll be back in a minute.
All right. Creepy music. Always found this music creepy. And we're in his office when he's gone.
Gabriel does.
In here.
This tracker might come in handy.
A tracker, huh?
The drawer is empty.
What kind of noise is that?
Not me. I've seen how Mosley organizes stuff.
Alright, so we have a tracker.
This device is called a tracker. It operates as follows. The signal device attaches to an object, such as a car.
Yeah, we know how a tracker works. So, theoretically, we can use this tracker if we can put it somewhere and find the exact location of St. John's Eve tonight. Well, we definitely know of one character who is involved. Let's go to the museum.
Hey, get out of there, you. Sorry, just looking for a restroom.
How could that even fucking work?
Hello, Dr. John.
Glad you could return to us, Mr. Knight.
Professor Hartridge said that in Voodoo, a small ritual coffin is called a seke module.
So we're gonna put the tracker in there.
Gabriel slips the signal device into the seke module.
Can I assist you, Mr. Knight?
No, just looking.
Now, if only they take the coffin to the ritual.
Now, how could we possibly communicate to Dr. John to
I
take
hate to
it?
rush you, Mr. Knight, but I am afraid I must close the museum early this evening. This is St. John's Eve, and it's getting on towards dusk. I have things I must do.
I see. No problem. I'll just
leave. Goodbye, Mr. Knight. May the spirits guard you well tonight.
Alright, here is potentially a hard puzzle. But anyway, we know of a spot where Dr. John's been contacted twice. We just need to wait for the groundsman to leave, because he doesn't want people to vandalize. So, just waiting. I actually was gonna stop this and play something else. Because, like, obviously Tempest and them fell asleep. I'm just gonna have to tell her to watch the VOD of this one so she can catch up for tomorrow or whenever I continue this again. But I'll probably just keep going. I don't think I'll finish this in one stream though, no matter what. All right, so now we need to write Dr. John a message to bring that coffin.
Leave a message of my own.
But vowels are missing, so I need to figure out Dr. John. Bring Sekey. Modulate. This is harm, so M. Now we need A. Madoul.
Pleased with his message.
There we go.
Gabriel tosses the break down. Now, if only DJ reads it in time.
Phew, it's humid out there. Made it back though.
The excitement of seeing you is killing me.
Oh, you're enjoying it, huh? Don't lie. You're playing FF14, barely paying attention. I'm on to you.
Will you do me a favor?
What?
Use your paints to copy this snake tattoo onto my chest.
Now, why on earth would you want me to do that?
I'm going to a party tonight. Costume, you know.
You don't say. I guess you're going with Maya.
Yeah. That's right.
If only he knew.
We don't even like Maya.
Well, if you're jealous about my feelings for her.
You know that's not it. I just think, as your friend, that she's trouble.
It's perfectly understandable. I know you have certain feelings for me. Quite naturally.
Me? I would rather be hung by my hair over a bed of scorpions.
I know it must be hard having it in your face like this. No chance to avoid hearing about it, seeing it day by day.
Fine, I'll do it. Just shut up. Can we at least go in the back?
Sure, but could you say that one more time and pout your lips more?
Oh my god.
What did I say?
All right, let's go. The shirt, please.
You don't know how long I've been waiting for this moment.
Now. Hold still.
Maybe you'd like to tie me up?
One more remark, and I'm leaving.
Okay.
Done. It's just stunning.
Sorry I couldn't make it last longer.
Well, it was about what I expected from you.
Oh, lordy! And my internet is tanking again. Internet, could you just make up your mind? I may need to just, like, reset my router or something. But yeah, now it's consistently going to 0. 300, 400, 800, 0, 200. Yeah, I might need to reset the router. That's kind of another reason why I was kind of wanting to stop this. And I could just I can play something else. But at least if the stream chops out, it won't be in the middle of this. I think, yeah, did you hear any of that? I was saying I probably need to reset my router, and that's kind of why I was wanting to continue this game on a different stream. Like, I'll keep playing shit, but it'd probably be better if I did this in chunks. So